Hey there, the second episode in the trip from Arizona all the way up to the Arctic Ocean in Alaska. And I want to talk a little bit about the route we're going on today. Took a little more of a scenic. So I was trying to stop. One, I wanted to go through some of the fun areas in Idaho and Oregon, but I'm today in Washington State, and I'm actually halfway up Mt Rainier, and it's all fogged in, as you see, as we can hear the car go by. But one thing that's kind of fun, I can't spin the camera around, but we're going to kind of spin around here just a little bit ourselves. And there's a whole bunch of snow on the side of the road. This was kind of a small little pile. There's some more, actually some really big ones. And it was actually a great waterfall, snow next to it. But this, being foggy, it's kind of a concern with how we're going to park. But we can talk a little bit about the route. So taking a little more scenic route. What I do, instead of just, you can put it in your phone. Just go, hey, type in Deadhorse, Alaska, or Prudhoe Bay. And yeah, like from my house, it was like 4,000 miles. But basically it goes through Banff and all of this, western Alberta and Yukon, and it's a very boring trip. It's just like plains. There's actually a dropping here from an animal. I'm not sure what it is. It looks probably like elk or something because they're really big. But yeah, that's kind of a boring. I love the ocean. I love the ocean mountains. So I wanted to do something more of a coastal route. So basically going up. Basically, I found a trip that I haven't not been through Utah before, and to Mt Rainier. And then we'll go to Vancouver. I haven't been to Vancouver in 20 years, so I wanted to check out the city again. But do much more of a coastal route in that. So here is the trusty Honda minivan, which is just a work vehicle of mine. And actually, there's a story. I won't go through the story of the Honda today, but there's a story of how and why I chose this vehicle. But just a little bit of the kit. It always had a hitch on there back in the days when I bought it. Previous owner put a hitch on there, and so I'm using that for a grill and a little bit extra fuel. I put extra fuel in already because when I started looking on Gas Buddy, I noticed that the fuel here in Washington State, Canada, is very expensive, and in Alaska it's very, very, very expensive. So I've got an extra 8.5 gallons. And I probably won't use that until I'm in Alaska when the fuel is very, very expensive. And also, if you're on Dalton Highway and you have problems. Now I'm going to get almost 500 miles on a trip with this van. So, and actually the fuel economy has been better than I expected. So that's actually been a great thing. But again, talking about that route, instead of just plugging into Google and having a route going up, what I've been doing is I'm looking for something interesting. It gives you alternate routes, but I notice sometimes when you plan a trip like this, when you actually go, it may not give you those ultimate routes, and it's actually very difficult. So I started thinking about cities that are interesting, sites that are interesting along the trail or along the route, and then you punch those in. So as I left my house, I think I put in, northern Arizona, right? And then as I'm driving up, and I'm like, oh, Sedona is just a little bit off. And it really would probably only 15 minutes longer, and you go through Sedona, and then you got to go up the great road that's 89A, which is a fabulous road in between Sedona and Flagstaff. Very curvy. Now, granted, not the best for the van, especially with a hitch carrier hanging off the back, but beautiful scenery, really a great trip. And it's something that I have to come back with my Miata and hit that myself with just the Miata. But just, more interesting sights to be seen. Same thing going through Utah. I have been to Salt Lake City before. I have been, Provo is just south of there. Some of the places, but not all of them. So southern Utah, you have all the national forests and national parks there that are great, and the scenery is to behold. So just step by step, and then as you go north, you start planning. You kind of plan for the day. So actually, I plan to have more time here at Mt Rainier today. But because of the weather, unfortunately, I can't see anything, so that takes away from it. I mean, it's still. Look at some of these long pole pines that are, these ones I'm looking at right here are at least 150 feet tall. That's pretty amazing. I haven't really seen any wildlife here. I did, believe it or not, when I crossed into Oregon, from Idaho into Oregon, there was a very large tan roadkill on the median. About the size of like a yellow Labrador, but not as thick, right? It's the most skinnier body with this long muscular tail. Well, that had to be a mountain lion. And I've actually never seen one in a while. The shame the first one you see is roadkill. But, I haven't really seen many animals yet. And that's going to be hit or miss based on weather and luck. I expect to see caribou and muskox. But other than that, it's just kind of lucky if you see other stuff. But we'll see. That's going to be obviously important to me. And as I'm kind of hiking and mountain biking through Alaska, that's one thing I'm going to be looking for. So I just want to give people an update of how you plan something like this. It's not just you sit down and write down, I mean, or at least me, I'm a procrastinator, so I wait last minute for stuff like that. But also what hits your fancy that day. It does take a little bit of research. I mean, I did look up, like going through Banff, and a lot of people do that when they do this type of trip. But the area of Western Alberta is I mean, we're talking a lot of miles, multiple days of not really seeing anything. And I wanted something a little more exciting than that. I've got enough time that we can do it, and just kind of give everyone an update on how to do that and how to make this fun and memorable. I mean, it is memorable to make it all the way up to Prudhoe Bay, but it's a long drive. So you might as well make it worthwhile and make it something that it's not just, oh yeah, it's great to dip your toes in the Arctic Ocean. That's pretty cool. I mean, not many people have done that. But to actually see the sights and see what a lovely, lovely land. And it's actually very interesting to see some of these mountains remind me of other mountains around the country. And looking forward to it. It's going to be fun crossing into Alaska. So I have personally been in and driven in 47 states. Alaska is one of the ones that I have not. So after this trip, it'll only be Vermont and Hawaii after this. So I'm looking forward to it. Trucking away with the vehicle. Everything's going well. And we'll see how that goes. So keep tuned in. And as long as there's cellular coverage, we'll keep updating the channel. Bye-bye.